So you may recall last week, Joe Biden's outrageous attack on the press. What does he do? He goes and shuts down 33 foreign news sites. Again, not inside the United States, which is already bad enough and authoritarian enough as it is. No. The United States decides for the whole world what news they can watch, right? So again, Press TV is not based in America, okay? I'm not based in America. But America, the United States, thinks it can go and shut down my show. It can go and shut down the show of my colleagues, their work. I mean, this is just criminal, right? You go to presstv.com, this is what you see now. This is what you see. This website has been seized. And that's not just Press TV. They did that to 33 news sites. And do you know what the justification is? Look at this. So you go to the statement that was released by the Department of Justice. I mean, this is outrageous. This is outrageous. Look what they say here. So they admit that they took down 33 websites, right? And they say that they're used by the Iranian Islamic Radio and Televisions Union, IRTVU, and 3 websites operated by Kata'ib Hezbollah, right? So again, that's a resistance group in Iraq that we were just talking about. So they say here on October 22nd, 2020, the Office of Foreign Assets Control, so that's part of the Treasury, designated IRTVU as a specially designated national, SDN, for being owned or controlled by the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps Quds Force. Okay, so do you understand what that is? Did you just digest what I read to you? Let me explain this to you because this is so outrageous. This is so outrageous. They're saying that all these stations, which includes Press TV, right, who are part of IRTVU, are being run by the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. I mean, we're talking about, this is the most elite fighting force that Iran has. And specifically, they say the Quds Force, which is the cream of the crop. And who is the head of the Quds Force? You remember? You remember Trump assassinated Haj Qasem Soleimani, right? So we were just talking about him. He was the head of the Quds Force. There is no equivalent role for him in any other country. I cannot explain to you his importance in military endeavors and also politically. He's a rank of general, but it's more than that. He's not just some random general, which would already be bad enough. It's already an extreme, it's an extraordinary declaration of war to assassinate a general. But him especially, Trump killed him and Abu Mahdi al-Muhandis. Abu Mahdi was a commander in the PMU. So the United States DOJ is saying that they shut down Press TV and they shut down all these news sites because apparently they're run by Iran's most elite fighting force, the Quds Force. I mean, this is outrageous. What an outrageous lie. And look at the date. You see that date, October 22nd, 2020? That's a Trump sanction. These are sanctions that Trump imposed on Iran. Iran has more than 1,500 sanctions on it. Again, Trump he contributed significantly to that with the maximum pressure campaign. He did that to Venezuela, to Syria, right? Him and Pompeo just putting as many sanctions as they can because they're bastards, right? Sanctions kill people. It's siege warfare. They don't care. And so part of those sanctions is saying that the IRTVU and all the channels and sites underneath are apparently being run by the most elite fighting force, special forces in Iran, right? So this is like saying that, MSNBC is being run by the Navy SEALs or Delta Force. Although, again, it's not a perfect equivalence. It's not the perfect analogy, but still, you get the point here. I mean, this is outrageous. It's outrageous enough for Trump to say it, but Biden runs with it. Once again, do you see how Biden is no fucking different? What did I tell you? What have I been sitting here and telling you for a year now? The better part of a year. There is no difference between these two. There is no difference. So he runs with Trump sanctions, right? And look what he says here. SDNs are prohibited from obtaining services, including website and domain services in the U.S. without an OFAC license. OFAC's announcement explained that components of the government of Iran, to include IRTVU and others like it, disguised as news organizations or media outlets. Apparently, we're disguised as news outlets now. So let me get this straight. Apparently, I'm part of Iran's most elite special forces. Right here, you see this elite special forces, Mike? And on top of that, I'm disguised as a news outlet. Wow. Apparently, my YouTube channel, All the live streams we've been doing, every one of you who's been signing up on Patreon, you guys are Assadist money, and you're also part of this whole cover-up operation. Wow, really. I mean, what is this diarrhea that I'm reading here? And they're saying that these disguised as news organizations or media outlets targeted the United States with disinformation campaigns and malign influence operations. Oh yeah, what you mean, telling the truth? Yeah, I can understand if your whole country and your empire runs on a massive propaganda network, that telling the truth would count as disinformation, right? Right, war is peace. You know how the Orwell quote goes, and I'm completely butchering it. The point here is that Biden is taking Trump sanctions and just running with them, and no one gives a crap, right? I mean, whether he's using Trump sanctions to justify it or not, this is not the whole point. The fact that he has done this is outrageous to begin with. But this, accusing journalists, accusing foreigners who are not even in the United States, we're not even in the United States, accusing us of being, what is this, special forces, military units? And then shutting us down? What is that? What do you call that? What do you call that when a leader, when a government dubs the media, dubs his critics in the media spies, or accuses them of working for military forces, foreign forces, and then shuts them down, silences them? What do you call that? I recall everyone screaming about, oh my God, democracy is on the ballot, decency is on the ballot. You have to go vote for Joe Biden because if you don't, fascism is going to win. Donald Trump is going to win. It's going to be fascism. Oh my God. Oh, well, it turns out you got a 2-for-1 over here. You got a 2-for-1. You got Biden and fascism. Well done. How are you liking your dose of authoritarianism? How are you liking this, huh? You're accusing foreign outlets of being special forces now? Have you lost it? And notice how many are silent on this, right? So they'll say, oh, this is bad, but they won't actually, I mean, that's already very few of them. They won't actually dive into this, right? How many of these so-called leftists, right? These so-called commentators, how many are actually willing to stand up for Persian, Arabic, Islamic networks? You know, the real resistance, the news sites, the outlets, the publishers who actually resist U.S. imperialism, who actually stand for something, not your fucking Democratic Party infighting bullshit. You know, real news, adversarial news. How many of them? Very few. It's funny, right? Because you have all these people who claim to, I'm totally like against racism and stuff, and I totally against imperialism. But when it comes to actually confronting imperialism, oh, they're nowhere to be found. Oh, they're gone, right? All these, oh, I'm a free speech absolutist. Really? Where are you now? I don't see much free speech absolutism from you right now. Where are you? Where have you vanished? Oh, you don't want to stand up for Press TV? You're too scared? You don't want to stand up for Al Furat, Palestine Today? No? Al Masira? No, you don't want to stand up for Iraqi, Yemeni, Iranian news outlets? No? Oh, okay, I see how it is. You see where they stand at the end of the day. It's right by Uncle Sam's side, like little lapdogs. So, I mean, this is outrageous. This is outrageous, honestly. And the funniest part, of course, well, actually, no, the funniest part was they're calling us special forces. What a compliment, right? Is that they're saying, oh, these news sites didn't obtain an exemption. Oh, yeah, because, of course, the Treasury, OFAC, they're dying to give an exemption from sanctions to all of these news sites who constantly criticize sanctions and tell you what sanctions really are, and tell you what the U.S. government really is, and tell you what imperialism really is. Oh, they're dying. They're dying to give an exemption, right? Listen, man, all of these sites that we just mentioned are not based in the United States. They do not operate in the United States. They're not headquartered there. They have no bureaus there. These websites, these news sites, these outlets, these publishers are in the Middle East, okay? With some offices in Europe. You have no right to come and shut these sites down. Again, it's outrageous enough blocking them in your own country, but you are deciding for 1.4 billion English-speaking people whether they can watch Press TV or not? Really? And of course, the vacuum that this has created in the Arabic language world, because many of those channels were also Arabic broadcasters. So what is that? What is that? This is not just totalitarianism or authoritarianism. It's beyond that. This is international, organized crime. This is imperialism. This is what these thugs do, right? They think they can just come and take all the domains. And their logic is that, well, look, VeriSign is an American company. VeriSign is the one that gives out .com domains. They run them at least, right? They're tasked with running domains that end in .com. And therefore, the U.S. government has jurisdiction over them. What? What kind of mental gymnastics is this? It's not the first time, though, right? They've been using this for many years now. They've been using this to sue people outside the United States, who I don't know, been pirating stuff. I don't know the complexity of those cases, but they've been using this argument for a while now that, look, the domain ends in .com, so even though you are not American and your website is not in America, we're still going to go after you in the courts. Right? Because this is what the U.S. does. The U.S. extraterritorializes its laws, and its laws are draconian and barbaric, and then it has the gall to point the finger at other countries, right? They have the stones to point the finger at Iran and Syria and pick whatever country you like targeted for regime change. They have the stones to point the finger at them and accuse them of not respecting the press, of not respecting the media, of being dictatorships and being authoritarian. Really? What is this? What is this? This is on another level. This is on another level. They've knocked out these sites for the whole planet. Disgusting. Disgusting. And seriously, man, I cannot believe the stones. The stones on these fucking Biden sycophants, these, bootlicking pieces of crap who have been whining like, oh my God, you're dividing the left. Oh, you're attacking the Democratic Party at a bad time. And look, man, you obviously love fascism and Trump because you're attacking Biden. Go and eat shit. Seriously, eat shit. Okay? Maybe this game works for you in the United States. This does not work for the rest of the world. Yeah, in case you haven't noticed, people outside of your bubble, the rest of the world knows what's going on. The jig's up. It's been up for a long time. Okay? We know there's no difference between you. We know there's no difference between Democrat, Republican. There's no difference. This is laughable. This is a joke. This is a joke. So this game does not work. Right? And it's funny, right? They're all silent now because everything I've said has come true. I told you that Biden would uphold virtually every single thing in foreign policy. He still hasn't re-entered the JCPOA, right? He's still bombing Syria, bombing Iraq. He's still going after Iran. He's letting Israel off the hook when they're going after Iran with nuclear terrorism. He's keeping sanctions on all these countries. No difference. No goddamn difference. He won't even move the embassy back to Tel Aviv, right? In occupied Palestine. Nothing. No, he's taking everything that Trump did and he's keeping it. Because why should he? You ain't going to pressure him. Why the fuck would he do anything? So they've come here. The Biden administration has come and knocked out dozens of anti-imperialist foreign outlets and claiming this is counterterrorism. Wow. Again, man, I'm going to try and take this as a positive because, what else can you do in this situation? We're going to continue. That's what we're going to do. We're going to continue, right? We're going to continue because Press TV is not... I mean, Press TV is stronger than ever at this point. All of these outlets are. We're going to continue holding you bitches to account. We're going to continue exposing imperialism, sanctions. We're going to do all of this stuff. Even harder because no one in the U.S. is going to do it. No one in the West is going to do it. No one in the U.K. is going to do it because that's state media. They are never going to talk about empire in the same way because they're not subjected to empire in the same way and they're too afraid to hold them accountable. We will continue. Again, presstv.com is gone now. As you can see, it says this website has been seized. Right? It's gone, but there's still presstv.ir. You can still access it there. There was a mirror, and it's up, thankfully. So you can still access it there. My show is still there, presstv.ir. But this one, presstv.com, is gone. So much for restoring the soul of America, right? Whatever the fuck that means. Whatever that garbage means. Whatever that nauseating rubbish means. This is the soul of America, right? This is America's press freedoms. This is America's respect for the press and respect for journalists, right? This is what they do. Here, I posted a collage. I posted a collage for you. Not just Press TV. Again, these are all the outlets. Look at them. This is press freedom in America, right? They just shut down adversarial news outlets. One by one. They try to extraterritorialize their stuff, just like with Assange, right? Just like with Assange. They want to apply U.S. law to the UK. They want to apply U.S. law to Iran, to Iraq. Imperialism, man. Imperialism. That's what it is. Disgusting. Like I was saying, it's a badge of honor at the very least. So Biden had to activate emergency laws. He activated the International Economic Emergency Powers Act. He had to declare a national emergency, basically, to do this, right? And then he said, oh, well, you know, Press TV and all these outlets, they pose a threat to the United States. And so I have to impose these sanctions and shut them down and seize the domains, right? It's not about the domains. It has nothing to do with that, right? If they wanted to go after .com domains that haven't obtained a sanctions exemption, then why didn't they go after every single Iranian website that is using a .com domain and hasn't obtained a license? They didn't. They went only after the press because Biden is just as much a piece of shit as Trump, right? There is no press freedom in America. We're not even talking about in America. There's no press freedoms at all because the U.S. is going to come after you if you say something they don't like. And just like with Assange, they try to extraterritorialize their crap, right? They want to apply U.S. law in the U.K. and U.S. law to everyone else. That's how it is. But we're going to take it as a badge of honor. We're going to take it as a badge of honor because they called us an unusual and extraordinary threat, right? U.S. Code, what is it, 50, Title 1701, an unusual and extraordinary threat. And they say here that apparently, according to Trump and Biden, because there's no difference, my program, my television program, all my colleagues, all the people who work also on the other channels besides Press TV, we're part of the most elite fighting force in Iran, the Quds Force. Wow. That's what they say. That's what they tell me. That's what the DOJ says. Unbelievable. Unbelievable, really. And then they have the stones to lecture about press freedoms. I never want to hear I never want to hear anyone in the West talk about that again, ever. Because you know Press TV is banned in the UK as well. So, you know, technically speaking, everything that I do for Press TV, my television program, is banned in the United States and now worldwide on PressTV.com. And in the UK revoked Press TV's license a few years ago. Ofcom is the telecoms regulator. They just revoked it, right? And they did the same thing to CGTN, which is a Chinese outlet, a few months ago. And then when the Chinese revoked BBC's license in response, they were like, oh my God, they're attacking the press. Motherfucker, you revoked CGTN's license first, right? Again, it's always the West that's the victim. It's always the British and the Americans and the Israelis, and everyone else is the aggressor. Always, right? Oh man. People are starting to see through their bullshit. You know, I think they're scared. I think they're scared because in this last round of attacks on Gaza, the Israelis slaughtering over 240 Palestinians, thousands injured, as usual, of course, right? As usual, that the death toll is incomparable. They started losing narrative control because you have people who are starting to see the truth. I was talking to Max Blumenthal on my show, and like you said, you had protests like in Kansas and Florida and like places you would never see or imagine a pro-Palestinian protest before. And now it's happening, right? So they're losing narrative control. They're scared. And you have, at the same time, Biden, who refuses to enter the nuclear deal again, although he promised to do so, right? And, you know, he goes and shuts down all these Iranian sites. And then a week later, he goes and bombs so-called Iran-backed militias, which is actually the Hashd al-Sha'bi, the PMU, in Iraq and Syria. So he's trying to squeeze Iran the same way that Trump is squeezing Iran, right? He's keeping the sanctions. He's continuing to bomb. He's continuing to attack their outlets. And then claiming that he is decent. Well, if you fell for that, you are a bigger fucking dunce than you imagine. So what can I say, man? Same old, right? Again, as you said, they're drowning. The Western media is drowning in a sea of hypocrisy. And at the same time, the Biden shut down all these outlets. They were whining about Apple Daily being shut down in Hong Kong, right? Oh my God, press freedoms. Oh my God, Navalny. Yeah, really? What about Assange, right? Who's been on the run for 10 years, who's been persecuted, who's been tortured for 10 years, right? On the run, I say that in the sense that he's being persecuted, not that he's actually done anything wrong or evaded anything. And of course, what about the outlets that the U.S. has just silenced and shut down because they criticize imperialism? Nothing, not a word. Double standards. Hypocrisy of the highest order.